Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Mark from TCG Discussions, and today we're going to be discussing Bandai's reasoning for banning the cards that they did for the April 1st ban list. Let's read what they had to say. Gecko Moria. This card has seen a very high usage rate index that include black text since the release, and we have been keeping a close eye on both its usage rate and impact in game. With no restrictions on its leader, nor on the character cards it can bring into play, this card allows a player to get a huge advantage too easily. This sentence is written very poorly. It wants us not to create a large disparity between the number of characters on the field between the player and their opponent, making it powerful enough to single-handedly determine the winner of the game. We've also determined developing an 8 cost that can match or exceed this card's performance will be difficult in the future. Such that we decided to designate this as a ban card. All right, so just briefly going over this. Higher usage rate, yes. Since its release, yes. They've been keeping a close eye on its impact of the game. Yeah, it's got a high usage rate. It's had a huge impact on the game for sure. There's no denying that. No restrictions on the leader. I think they mean because it's not leader locked, nor on the characters it can bring into play or what it can play, either color. Well, the cost it is, but yeah, I think they just mean like the color. I think this allows the player to gain a huge advantage too easily. I disagree with that. I think that like consecutive geckos is where this becomes a problem. It's like when your opponent just like gecko, you kind of get cooked. I think though that in a reality where it requires somebody to do that over and over again to win the game, I don't think like one is enough, and that's something I probably disagree with. I mean, this can, but it's all contextual, right? Like this can, like one gecko can come down and swing the game, but it's not enough to just like end the game on the spot. Like I don't believe that. If you're losing the game because one gecko came down, you were probably going to lose the game regardless. Making it proud enough to single-handedly determine the winner of the game. No, I don't think that. I think that's way too contextual to say that. We've also determined that developing an 8 cost that can match or exceed this card performance will be difficult in the future. Should have made him a 9/9. I mean, it would have been completely fair. I don't think you need to try to make a more broken version of this card, and you think it's ban worthy. I think that's kind of counterproductive and paradoxical. OPO 745 Jinbe combined with the leader OPO 1 Donkey Flamingo or AC 17 Marshall D Teach. This card allows the player to play multiple characters in the early game, creating an advantage beyond what was originally intended. In the early game, even low cost or low power cards can be difficult to deal with, which leads to one-sided battles. Oh man, they're so hypocritical with that statement. Furthermore, as a 4-cost card that puts characters into play, we have determined that it would be difficult to develop a card with equal or superior performance in the future. As such, we decided to designate this as a ban card. This entire paragraph up to this point right here is a load of bullcrap. OPO 1 Flamingo isn't the issue. It's this stupid card. Marshall D Teach. If Teach didn't exist and you allow Jinbe to live, at 5 Dawn, you would play Jinbe in another card and then swing 6 with lead. At 3 Dawn, in order for you to play Jinbe in a card, you have to either draw a non-searchable 1 of 4 cards in Perona and then flop it or blind flop it. There is no way for you to play Jinbe and get 2 cards out early otherwise. Right, so it's either luck or it's like kind of non-searchable, I mulligan for it luck, right? But Teach breaks all of this because now it changes anytime you've drawn the card or you get it off of life. It just turns Jinbe into what it is. And 5 Dawn is the most egregious example that I can point to because of what you can do. And Teach's power spike to the leader itself, which is the issue. So at 5 Dawn, you can play like Jinbe Weevil, draw a card, and then you can use Teach effect if it's already on the board from your 3 Dawn turn, and then you can then place a Jinbe on top of your deck, and then play Jinbe Weevil or Jinbe Law, bounce one of your opponent's cards, and then put the Jinbe back in your hand to play multiple bodies again next turn. The issue also is that every time you play a card, Teach turns your leader into a 7K. So at the 5 Dawn axis play that I'm talking about normally, where you play like Jinbe into Weevil and then swing 6, at that juncture in the game, it would only cost me a 2K to get out of the swing, so it's 1 card out of hand. Whereas now it is a minimum 2 every turn to get out of that leader effect because of Teach. Also, their next sentence is, in the early game, even low cost and low power cards can be too difficult to deal with, so you let it live, which leads to one-sided battles. So you let it live. I mean, it's like hypocritical to like talk about Jinbe being like a low cost card being powerful, and this card is making the leader swing 7 every turn and flopping bodies out of the hand. Like, that's just ridiculous. That was a terrible paragraph. and then trying to develop a superior card to this. I guess I'll say this. I watched VV Theory's video and I think it's a good idea. You should have made Jinbe probably like a 5/6 with 1k or no counter, so it can't be played off the leader effect, and if it gets put to the top of the deck, the leader can't flop it out. Probably been a lot more fair. Ice Age. Although there are many cards which share this card's ability to lower cost, this is the only one that can lower the cost of a card for just one. You can also make card cost increase effects, which is what they've been doing for a long time. It hard counters this card. Anyway, this card synergizes turn while with other cards. The rely on cost, and there is a concern that any future cards which rely on cost will have to be developed with this card in mind, overly constraining the future card development. As such, we have decided to designate this card's ban card. So the first card I'm thinking about here is Jack, and Jack at 8 Dawn, when you play an 8 cost, like if you play an 8 cost and I play Ice Age and I jack your 8 cost, right? That's literally me spending 8 Dawn to get rid of your 8 Dawn. I think this is a very poor reason to get rid of Ice Age. I mean, the other issue is that like Black doesn't have a good way outside of Stussy to address top end in a meta where Teach exists. So it's like literally like just Tempest kick Kaido the card where you're gonna get cooked. So I don't know. I think this is another bad paragraph. I mean, it's a little bit more justifiable, right? It's a 1 cost that for 5. Okay, that's justifiable. I've seen lots of people saying if it was 1 for 4, it should have stayed, but 1 for 5 is too much. So I mean, I guess we'll give half of that reasoning good. Kingdom Come. Although this card is one of many events with the ability to remove an opponent's character cards with its effect. When you use a combination with the leader OP05, 098 and L, synergy between this card's removal effect and the leader's defensive ability proved to be more powerful than anticipated. What are you talking about? You're telling me that their reason for banning Raigo is that they think that Anel of all leaders with this card is the reason why it needed to go, and the synergy between this card's removal and the leader's defensive ability proved to be more powerful than anticipated? How about you stop printing cards that just heal Anel and triggers that heal Anel and triggers that KO 5 or less so that Nell can just never die? How about that? That's what you should probably do, right? You should stop printing bombs that just come out of Anel's life so he can never be pressured down. How about that? Or, you know, get rid of You're the One Who Should Disappear or Beji, right? And then Anel becomes a lot more fair. In fact, I'm actually going to argue that Raigo is antithetical to his defensive ability because you can't play Raigo and heal at the same time. You just can't. This entire first line doesn't even make sense. There's also the concern that having to develop cards with this combination in mind will greatly limit the future of high cost character cards. Well, no crap, Sherlock. Of course it does. That's the point of the card. The card is to KO anything. And look at its constraints, man. You have to trash your entire life down to 1. There are entire decks that can't even play this card. If you want the removal, you don't get to have it. I don't know. This is a very faulty reason to ban this card. I don't think either of these reasons are actually good at all. I really don't. I think that this entire paragraph is like lip service, and I feel like somebody just lost a bet and had to put Raigo on the ban list. I mean, this is terrible. This is a very, very bad reason to put Raigo on the list at all. Saying that Anel was the meta reason that we had to ban Raigo is just complete BS. We're in the middle of a Teach meta, about to enter an aggro meta where this card's value is just going to be completely trash outside of a trigger. And to make matters worse, because it doesn't exist, decks like Shanks are now just going to completely run over Anel. Anyway, I don't know what you're talking about. It's like, I don't know. I think this is a very poor reason trying to justify Anel. I mean, how many events has Anel won? It won 1 Japan Nats, and then the next day all the Blackbeard players made 1 adjustment, and then Anel didn't even top 16. And then I think it won day 2 of One Piece Day and OP09 Pod B. Those are the only 2 wins for Anel. I don't even know how many tops it's had. It's probably had like dog doo-doo representation of tops. So I don't know. There's no way you're gonna convince me that Anel and Raigo were somehow so broken together that they had to ban it. I think that's just completely ludicrous. Well, guys, and don't forget those future high cost cards. Dying to this is way too broken, but don't worry, you can bottom deck them if you play blue, and it's going to be completely fine. Anyway, I think there were a lot of really bad reasons, and I think that they could have done a lot better. I think we deserved better. This is part of the reason why I gave it an F, because like they're going to justify these. This Jinbe justification is terrible. Like, this is clearly the issue, and then literally 3 seconds later you say like, in the early game, even low cost and low power cards can be difficult to deal with. Yes, getting rid of Teach is a huge problem for a lot of decks. You could have addressed stuff with Gecko. I talked about that in the video. Ice Age is like okay, but like this Raigo paragraph is just complete nonsense. That's terrible. That's just like some lip service to say that we said this is why we're gonna do it and this is why we're doing it, so we're gonna do it. So let me know what you guys think about this, and I will talk to you guys in the next one. This is Mark from TCG Discussions signing off. Laters.
起きろ 起きろ。起きろ。